All right. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Badboyz of podcasting. I am DJ Impact, and I got the Vegas Badboyz here with me. It's good to see you. Matt Michael, Sin City Steve, and Simon Street. Want to welcome everyone as they are jumping on to the podcast. Again, we appreciate you. We thank you for hanging out with us. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about wrestling this past week's wrestling shows. Before we get to that, we are very happy to announce our promotion that's kicking off on this episode. So we wanted to make sure that you are clear with knowing all the details so that you can partake into this particular promotion. So let's break it down to you. First off, as you are aware, SummerSlam is going to be here in Vegas at the Allegiant Stadium. And that is Saturday, August 21st. I mean, today is August 1st, man. Guys, can you imagine 20 days the show is going to be here? Amazing. And it's a 4:30 p.m. start time for that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to give away two tickets to the show. And this is exciting because tickets, I'm telling you, they have a lot of the sections have sold out. They've opened up brand new seats, but they're all mostly limited view. So you just have to be like, I just want to be there, but I don't necessarily have to see nothing because that's the kind of seats they have available, unless you want to pay the huge resale prices that everyone are trying to, make some money on for whatever reason. But we got two free tickets here we're going to give away. And these are the rules right here that you just have to know. We're going to give you a unique code for this show, Wrestling Talk, tomorrow's podcast, which is 3 count. And then next week's Wrestling Talk again, we're going to give you another unique code, and then 3 count next week. So that's 4 shows. You can download them, listen to them whenever you like. During the time of us talking, we will just let you know what that code is. As soon as you have all of the 4 codes downloaded, you want to go to our website, vegasbadboyz.com. If you haven't been there yet, you should check it out. It's a great website. That's how you can keep up with everything that we're doing. There'll be a form there. It'll ask for your name, it'll ask for your email address, it'll ask for your telephone number, but it's also going to ask you for those 4 unique codes. And if you have all of those right, you would be put into a drawing, which we will actually do a live drawing on our, I guess that would be, that is the 9th, so 7 days from there be what, maybe the 14th or so?
2 weeks from today, DJ. 2 weeks from today on Wrestling Talk.
Well, thank you. You know what? I've never been good in math, so you just saved me.
Are you still sure?
Are you sure it's only 2 tickets, or is it 4 tickets since you're not good at math?
Well, being that I have the 2 tickets in my hands, I know that there are 2. So yes, a week from that day, we'll do it live, just like you're watching us now, if you're watching us, and you would know who the winners would be. So if you already have tickets, great, exciting, but you may know someone who don't have tickets, or someone who couldn't give tickets, or maybe you would like to win these tickets for someone. The opportunity is there. All you have to do again is listen to those 4 shows, and hopefully you continue to listen to us as we continue to bring all these different entertainment shows to you. So it's exciting. Listen tonight. We're going to get the very first unique code word, and just write it down, make notes, do whatever you got to do so that you know what? And you do kind of have an advantage if you're watching our live show. So, but at the same,
there's no real advantage. Let's make that clear, because once the entries are in, which need to be in by basically 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on Friday the 13th.
Right.
Once those are in, then it will go into a drawing. So there's no advantage. You just can easily write down the words now instead of, going back and listening to it. That's the only thing you can get out of it live, but it won't give you any certain advantage or any priority over anyone else.
Absolutely. All right. So if you got any other questions, we're gonna listen. There's gonna be tons of promos on our social media. So hopefully you're locked in on our IG, on our Facebook, on our Twitter, because you're going to see lots of promos on that. So if there's something you didn't get, don't worry, you'll get the opportunity to get it then. All right. So we're excited. Thank you for participating. Let others know about it, and especially if they're in the Vegas area, let them know. If you're going to be in the Vegas area as well, you want to definitely try to win for those as well. Okay. So with that, let's start getting right into our wrestling talk. And we're going to start off like we normally do with WWE Raw. But fellas, let me just ask you, we heard about the release of Bray Wyatt. That made a lot of news coming into the weekend. What's your guys' take on that? What are you hearing? What's your thoughts? What are your hopes? I mean, what you guys take? I know, right?
Steve, it's an audio program as well, not just.
I know. I know.
He's been shaking his head. Well, I'll let you go, Sin City. What's your take?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go first. It's. I really wish that I could say that I was surprised, but realistically, we saw WWE essentially co-op the entire Bray Wyatt Fiend gimmick, give it to Alexa Bliss, and then they had Alexa turn on Bray at Mania. Okay, so that definitely felt like the closing of a chapter. Little did we know that it was actually closing the entire fucking book. It needless to say, it pissed a lot of people on the internet off, myself included.
Why? I just want to know why.
Because I would prefer to see Bray Wyatt on my TV rather than half of the individuals that they're choosing to fill time with on this show. Bray Wyatt is one of the most entertaining personalities and had one of the most entertaining characters and gimmicks that we've seen in quite some time. And the mere fact that, they're citing budget cuts as the reason for his release, I'd like to believe that there's more to it than that.
Wait. Who's citing?
That was the reasoning. That was the reasoning that was given to Bray Wyatt from John Laurinaitis. Numerous sources were reporting that budget cuts was the exact terminology that was given to Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, there was a lot of sources that said the same thing.
Yeah.
So what do you know, Matt Michaels?
It doesn't involve money. Let's put it that way. It doesn't involve money. That might be the story that's going around, but put your faith into the WWE having to do certain things along the codes to make sure that all their talent is healthy. So I would not put a full investment into the idea that it was money related. It's almost, well, let's put it this way. We know that Brody died, Brody Lee died. And the whole question was about medical issues, right? And it seems like Bray might have something going on that is potentially the reason, because what's interesting, and Steve brought this up, is you would expect that he would have been. Let me ask you this. You guys are smart. You realize if you have a performer who is healthy enough to perform, and even if you don't have the greatest gimmick in the fucking world, maybe you put a superhero cape and a mask on him, okay? You still use him because he's under contract to you for a lot of money, right? So if it was a pure contract cut, that doesn't make as much sense. And that's what it comes down to, because he hadn't been on TV since. And by the way, the WrestleMania match wasn't a match. So if you go back, he hasn't wrestled in a long time. And that, all the indications point that there is some kind of medical condition that, you know, is a possibility of why this went down. You know, if you think about it too, this wouldn't be unprecedented because they did that to Kurt Angle. They let him go because they were not going to let him get in the ring and risk his health again. Mm-hmm. So, and you know what? He went somewhere else that would allow the risk. I think it's, honestly, I think it's that simple. You know? So it could be money issues. In the end, if that's the case, don't be surprised if he shows up, you know, signed again, just with a reworked contract. And by the way, it is funny how everyone gets so pissed off about the WWE releasing people. And yet these are the same fans who are just like, oh, I can't wait to get them in AEW. So you're pissed that they got rid of them, but you're happy that they got rid of them. Fuck you, and fuck you again. All right?
They're probably not happy with the way that individual was used.
But you know what? That's not our right to judge because we weren't in the room. And that's what I think, you know, that's the main thing with all the, you know, the sources that tell these guys shit. You know, we don't know. We're in the room. We could be being worked. If Bray Wyatt comes out and says something, is that fucking true? Or is it work? You don't know. And we shouldn't have to go that far to kind of figure out, why did they do this? Why do they treat him that way? Does it matter? The guy is going to resurface at some point in some company, maybe even the same company. How many people were so pissed that Joe was gone? How long did that last?
No.
You know?
That lasted a week.
Yeah, something like that, you know, a couple weeks. That's it. So it's funny because everyone gets so caught up in this, you know, let's make this war thing happen again. And, oh, what new WWE guys are going to show up on AEW this week? But it's different because back then the internet was a baby. Now everyone is trying to get into every fucking nook and cranny of, you know, why this is wrong and why that's wrong. And it's always the WWE, you know, doing something wrong to some wrestler. And if you think about it, yeah, they've fucked up many a times. But at the same time, there are instances that they've tried to do good or have done better for people because not only have they either signed them back, or how many times have they sent people to rehab who weren't even with the company anymore and fucking essentially saved their lives. You know, there are things this company does that people don't, you don't hear the, oh man, I'm so glad they sent so-and-so to rehab. No, it's just when people want to shit on the company because they don't like the product. Well, fuck you. It's you know, it's a product that is entertainment, and you're not going to like all entertainment products. You're also not going to like every business decision that's made because it's the only industry in entertainment that fans like to try to get the dirt on and figure out, thanks to guys like Meltzer. And the honest answer is, you know, you look at a TV show or you look at a movie, the only dirt that gets out there are guys from TMZ who put shit out there that the stars give, right? But you don't hear, producers aren't leaking shit. No one's going, oh my God, Paramount should have, you know, never have, you know, let that guy go from, you know, the Flying Nun Part 2, Nuns in Hell. Which, by the way, Paramount, if you're listening, give me a call. I got a script.
Well, thanks for that,
Wow.
Michaels, and
Wow.
shout out to everybody who is on our chat of Facebook. Feel free to put any of the comments in there, and we see you in there. Shout out to Michaela and Sean and some of the others. Don't be shy. Let us know what your thoughts are on this particular topic. Simon, did you want to add anything? I don't want to not leave you out when you kind of heard the news. Any particular thoughts, or you're just kind of in agreement with one of the guys here?
Yeah, you know what? The one thing I will say is, when I think about it, there's certain talent that when they get released, such as this, it could be a long shot that they return back into the WWE. But when I think about Bray Wyatt, I truly, honestly think about, he's somebody that we obviously know we're entertained. We obviously know he's very versatile with the different characters that he brings along. So the chances of him coming back to the WWE, as Matt Michaels has stated earlier, is pretty darn high. It may not be in 6 months. It may be quicker than that. But this is not the last time we've heard of Bray Wyatt. So I'm not really worried about it. Was I shocked to hear the news? Yes, a little bit. But, at the end of the day, he'll be fine.
Well, listen, if it's health related, I really do hope that, everything works out in terms of what needs to get done to get him back healthy. And, if that is, and if it wasn't that, and it's just WWE still slimming
DJ,
down.
Here's something that I don't think I've seen out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to talk about getting worked? Well, apparently WWE let Bray Wyatt go, which means that they didn't let someone else go.
Didn't let the Fiend go. The Fiend is probably still around. There's no Bray Wyatt. Didn't they do the same with Mick Foley at one point? Didn't they say that they let go of Mankind, but they did with Dude Love and Cactus Jack or some shit? I could have swore something like that happened.
Well, you never know, man. All right, let's jump over into Raw. So it looked like as we're getting hyped for SummerSlam, we at least know what the Raw Women's title is going to start to look like, huh? Triple threat match.
Did you not guess that coming through the gate before Raw started? Come on, that's pretty.
I know.
Come on.
Would you guys have started Nikki ASH with starting the show, start kicking off Monday Night Raw? It
Why
seemed
not?
like
They've
it was
done worse before.
yeah, I guess. Not to say it was just horrible. It was just that, it's that's just I think a pivotal time role when you get started that, it's your job, especially if you're going to go on the mic, to really just, hype up the folks and more than just throwing your title up or saying the city's name to get a pop, but, really out there expressing what it is, what your goal is and what you plan on doing. And I don't know, it just seemed like they kind of got lost there. But what was your guys' take overall on Raw? And we could start from that point or any other part of the show.
Well, it was dead. I actually pressed mute on my TV and imagined that I was a person who could not hear and look at the crowd's reaction. And most of them were sitting down. When Charlotte came out and, saying her little thing, you could see crowd reaction. But when, what's called Nikki ASH came out, it was just kind of dead. So there wasn't even boos. It was just kind of like, okay, all right. I feel like that means something. And, I don't know if people in WWE are taking note. I don't know if she's taking note, but they got to figure something out because that beginning segment was a whole lot different than later on in the night. I think she closed Raw, if I wasn't mistaken, because Raw was on Monday and I watched it live. It was a different type of reaction. So we can talk about that as we approach it on what I thought about it.
Continue. Give us the thoughts.
Well, I was just saying it, and I can't remember for sure because, like I said, Raw was way back on Monday, and I watched it that night. But I do believe the show ended with Nikki Ash and when they announced it was going to be a triple head. At least I think so. Let's just take it as the two segments. So at least in that second segment, where she had said her line, after Charlotte beat her, she had said something to the effect of, hey, I will overcome. I felt like the crowd reaction was a little bit higher than what it was initially when she first came out. It really looked dead. It looked like nobody was engaged in that character. Charlotte, they booed the shit out of her ass. Rhea Ripley came out, they kind of popped a little bit. So I wonder, if that's the direction you want to go in for SummerSlam, how do you fix that with 2 weeks? That's all.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. We all know that SmackDown is just packed with star power, and rightly so, right? You got Fox throwing the dollars, but at what point does NBC, which I guess are the owners of USA, at what point do they kind of go, wait, hey, we've had, besides the fact that we just purchased this this huge content from you, we've been running USA for how many decades? Why can't we get some of this? Why can't we have some of this star power here? Like, why do we feel, and maybe USA or I'm sorry, the NBC don't think of it that way, but we all can see that there is a difference between the Raw and the SmackDown, and it's just interesting that one company sees the other company, speaking of NBC and Fox, sees that one is getting more of the advantage than the other. Am I looking at it wrong?
Yeah, you're totally missing the fact that USA is a syndicated cable station and Fox is an actual network on Friday nights.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't think of that. No, I didn't think of that. You're right. I'm sorry. But still, I mean, I don't know. It's yeah, you're right. You're right. But man,
but what's really fascinating, and this is the amazing thing, is that you're all judging already. You're all judging.
Judging what? Give me some context.
So, Nikki ASH has been around now for what, 4 weeks?
2 weeks.
5 weeks?
I thought it was like 2.5 weeks.
It was a little bit of lead up going into
point.
It's been about a month.
Yeah. So here's the scenario. Wrestling fans. Oh, they don't do anything with these people. And the WWE they don't do the right things. They don't give the right people a push. New character for her, opportunity. Have her go, have her beat Rhea, have her beat Charlotte in these clock matches, have her win the ladder in the mat, the Money in the Bank match through everyone else climbing ladders. She just climbs over everyone and grabs it. She then goes on to Raw. She cashes in stunningly, as it was expected, that the WWE doesn't use their talents right. So therefore, when she cashes in the bank, she'll lose that match. Right? She wins. She is now your champion. She's been champion for 1 week. All right. And in the main event, you have her lose to Charlotte, but you have her say, again, this whole thing is, I might not be the best, but guess what? I'm the fucking champion. And it's so funny that everyone just goes, oh, they don't give the right opportunities. They're giving this incredibly talented wrestler an opportunity. And that's what it comes down to. And guess what? She might be making the future WWE champion 20 years from now want to be a pro wrestler. Because it's something that a little girl can look at. And not only is it cool because she's a superhero, she's a champion, but she's also saying, hey, I might not be the best, but guess what? If you work your butt off, stuff will happen and you can make a run out of it. And that's it. It's very simple. there hasn't been enough time to go, oh yeah, she's just horrible, man. Get that belt off of her.
Well, that's the thing, Michael.
Well, is anybody saying that for starters?
No, I just said it.
Yeah, no. But let me clarify.
Don't say y'all.
Okay?
I didn't say it. I questioned
Yeah,
how she started.
I didn't say a word about that.
Let me clarify a little bit, okay? I know Nikki Cross, not personally, but as far as seeing her work before she got to, where she's at now. She is very talented, very capable. All right. And she's always been somebody that many people who watch women's wrestling in the WWE from when they started NXT to where they are now has always been, her name's come up in the conversation. The only thing that I have doubts about, and again, it's just my opinion, is that it's missing something. The Nikki ASH character is missing something, So
yeah,
my question is
more than 4 weeks. That's what it's missing.
And that could be the case, Michaels. That could very well be the case. I'm only just stating. Go ahead.
No, you're totally making a judgment. And the reason I say that them all or you all or whatever is because of how you started this. The fans aren't reacting.
Well, it looks like the fans aren't reacting. That's just an observation. That's not a judgment. Me personally, as far as the ASH character, I don't have a huge, big problem. My only thing is I want to make sure, for me, Simon Street, I want to make sure that her talent in ring is what will be always presented. I don't care if she's wearing a goddamn pickle costume, for all I'm concerned. She's a freaking talented ass person, and she can talk on the mic. I've seen her do it a million times when she did Sanity. She was able to do it. And even when she was friends with Alexa Bliss. I just get worried, and I think all of us can agree, when WWE pushes new characters on pre-existing talent who are great, and we wonder, who? I mean, are they letting her say?
So now, if they push one of those talents in something other than what you think is the way they should be pushing them, now they're giving them a push, but they're not giving them the right push.
No, it's not
Michaels. No. I think I can pick up what Simon's talking about here. It's almost a flavor of the week syndrome. We've seen it all too many times where someone shows up on Raw or whichever show. More often than not, it's Raw, and they've done it with Mansoor. They've done it with Ricochet. They've done it with a lot of guys. Okay, and the fact is, they give them these shots for 2, maybe 3 weeks. Humberto Carrillo is another amazing example of that. And they give him 2 to 3 weeks. And then after that, nowhere to be seen. Why? Because somebody somewhere doesn't feel like as if they are drawing any kind of a rating, getting the appropriate crowd reaction.
Horrible examples. And the reason
cool. Awesome.
No, those are bad examples. Why? Because they weren't the champion of that division. 205 maybe? Big fucking deal. 205 is a fucking why they're still producing that. Who the fuck knows? But the honest answer is that she's the women's champion on Raw.
Okay. All right. Let's take that, Michaels. She is the women's champion, obviously. Wouldn't that mean that you wouldn't heavily have a microscope under what the crowd reaction is? Now I get it, from city to city. Now that we're traveling, it may be a different. Wherever Raw is going to be tomorrow, maybe a total different reaction. I get that.
But let me. So to be honest, Nikki gets a reaction. She gets a reaction, and
from the kids, and barely even that.
Well, and some of the fans as well.
And some of the moms.
But part of what you had mentioned at first was where a lot of the reaction maybe didn't come from was when Charlotte came out. But Nikki, this storyline, this what they're running with her is something that I think is that I believe is working. Over time we'll have to see it play out, but it does seem like it's working, even if you doesn't care for it or not. The fans are reacting to it in a positive light. And so I will say that. My whole thing is, I just hope that as she continues to come out, to go right into that spiel and not necessarily into cheap pops to get them just to react for the sake of reacting. That's my only thing. But outside of that, she's doing what I think they were expecting, and that is getting some sort of a reaction. So I will say that.
No. That's a good point. I will say this because I don't want to be the person that's sticking on this damn topic. We got a whole rest of the show to do. But I will say, as far as superheroes go,
Well, this will be all of Raw because apparently no one else saw anything on Raw that was good. Go ahead.
No. I would just say, with regards to superheroes and people who follow superheroes, whether it's comics, multimedia, whatever, maybe this is the first couple of steps, and maybe I am not looking at that. Maybe some people may not be looking at that. This is her being the new rookie on the block as a superhero. I get it. All right. The true test, which we've talked about last week, is I think we're going to really see this character really get the lift that it needs, really get that pop when she faces her arch nemesis. She don't have an arch nemesis. Charlotte is not her arch nemesis. Do you see what I'm saying? We all know who it is. We know it's Alexa Bliss and where she's at right now as far as the character in WWE. I think once, what you laughing at now?
They're not arch nemesises.
They're not arch nemesis, they're best friends. They're holding pinkies and trolloping up and down the ring.
I'm sorry. Have you watched the last couple of weeks leading up to all this stuff? They were in tags together. She didn't do anything that was in fact, if anything, don't forget, Alexa went from being a heel to a face during this period.
True.
So Charlotte is your most heated heel. Okay, that's what you're trying to do. You are trying to build that woman up to be the most despisable, despicable, egotistic bitch.
Doesn't have to do much.
But you do because she is so good that you have to make it. You have to. She goes out there and she beats Nikki. She beats the champion. And when the champion says, "You know what? I didn't beat you today, but I can beat you tomorrow," and she laughs in her face, that's doing your job. Nikki Cross is doing her job because she's making Charlotte look like a piece of shit. And that's fucking awesome. And how many times does it get brought up that are we going to see the same matches? Well, throwing Nikki into this equation is something new. So let it play out. That's the whole thing. It hasn't even come close. It's only been a month.
It's not bad. Look, to make it short and simple, I think a lot of people are invested in Nikki Cross, the competitor, and we're happy to see her get a shot. We're just probably scared with WWE PTSD syndrome from just horrible times, like Cincinnati Steve said. Many people who we were invested in them and saying, man, we would like to see them flourish. So, it is what it is. I get what you're saying.
But you know what? The other thing about that too is don't forget, if you look on the scope of things, Nikki Cross shouldn't even be a champion. And I think that's the important thing to remember.
Yeah.
Because you can't bitch about people not getting their opportunities, not getting their shots, blah, blah, blah. She gets it. Now it's like, well, it's only a flavor of the month. It's like, we don't know. We don't even know what month it is.
I don't look at it as flavor of the month. I've always wanted to see her as a champion. But again, that's just me. I'm only one person of the whole WWE universe.
All right. Well, good talk there. Like I say, not really a whole lot else happened on Raw.
We talking about Bobby Lashley double stacking, trying to pretend to be Roman Reigns.
Yeah, go ahead. You want to talk about Bobby Lashley?
That was a little bit ridiculous. I thought if it was for the purpose to say that you have another major company champion to double stack, do a double stack pin, then great. If not, I had no idea why we had Cedric Alexander come out with a new haircut and new ring attire with his high-pitched voice. And then what was really funny is Cedric Alexander said how annoying it is, and we were all probably shaking our heads like, yeah, it's annoying. So, again, Bobby Lashley being built up to defeat a jacked old man for SummerSlam, it looks like, possibly. Or has that been confirmed? Is he for sure facing Goldberg? I'm sure he is. So I don't know how many people are excited about that, but,
I'm always excited, man.
Are you?
Yes, like WWE, man.
When his music plays, do you get out of the car and you walk all the way up your driveway
actually-
into your house with the music playing in the
I
background?
actually think Bobby Lashley's music is hot. I think every last one of his video music packages has been on fire.
I was talking about Goldberg.
Oh, Goldberg. I'm sorry. Goldberg. I mean, it's old school, but it still works. You know,
that was it.
It still makes you want to suck in the fireworks smoke and blow it out. You know.
So,
Right.
so you don't inhale. You don't inhale, do you?
Yeah.
Since we're talking about way guys are not supposed to be used, but they're using them anyway. Steve, what's your thoughts on Keith Lee?
I'm debating on. I honestly, I have no idea what to think, because since he's come back, he's lost 2 matches in a row. Hasn't exactly looked great in the ring, and they haven't made any kind of real attempt to, get him over again with the audience. So,
Well, in that position of that match, being that you just had Cross and him lose the week before, and the internet loses their shit.
So why not put them in the ring against one another?
And the other big factor too is Keith Lee has been posting now for months that he's going to tell us all why he was missing time. And it's interesting that just kind of keeps getting pushed, and he kind of just keeps re-saying that. So maybe we see that kind of tie into as an angle of what's going on with him, potentially losing, but
we can only hope.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. And you couldn't necessarily have him go over on Cross because you got to keep Cross strong. So, and that whole thing got fucked up too because of the fact that Jeff Hardy got COVID. So,
yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it from Raw, man.
I can't
there was
think of
nothing,
anything
man.
that stood out. Yeah.
Yeah. As you read the comment. Okay.
Although Steve did bring up the names of like Mansoor, and you had Mansoor and
that was cool. I
they decided to bring them out again. Yes, they are still active members of the roster, I guess.
I thought that was cool only for one reason. It made what's his name, Slapjack and T-Bar. What his name? That's his name's right.
It's Mason T-Bar.
Okay, whatever. Stupid name plus stupid name, but great talents nonetheless. Looked really strong against them, and they looked good and comfortable as a tag team. So the question I wonder with those two, are you going to make them be a part of the conversation and tag team? I'm sure they have, but I'm wondering, are you going to actively put them in with the Viking Raiders and AJ Styles and Omos and stuff? I mean, I'd like to see them go against them too for the titles. I don't know. That's just me.
They need to have more teams like that. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see more formations because of the fact that they're doing the live shows now.
Yeah.
So they have to have enough talent ready to step up if people test positive for COVID or what other circumstances might happen. So you'll probably see them tag a lot more. You'll probably see Mason T-Bar around as a tag team for that very reason. And it's funny because you look at those 4 guys and you can go, they're all talented, but the question all comes down to then, what is their place, and should they have a place on the roster?
I don't know about Mansoor and Ali though. I mean, at least in what they're showing us right now, I don't know.
But what I'm saying is that again, it's one of those things where you don't have enough real estate. Even though Raw's a 3-hour show, there's not enough real estate to make everyone this spectacular. We're doing the best thing with them, and that's a thing that I don't think the fans have wrapped their heads around yet. Is, hey man, the fact of the matter is that they're talented. Listen, they wouldn't be on the main roster if they weren't talented. Are they going to be utilized the correct way? Probably not in most people's eyes. and they probably show more promise and have had better showings in other organizations before they came into the WWE. They probably did really good in NXT before they went up to WWE. But with that said, there's always a top tier that is not changing.
It's true.
And I know that people get pissed off when you say, well, Goldberg's coming back or Cena's coming back or so-and-so's coming back. Listen, The Undertaker did it for fucking ever. And you know what? At a certain point, people started saying that he should kind of retire, right? So the fact of the matter is that that's always going to happen. And that's always a money draw. And that's why they do it. And that's why and the minute that they let someone like that go from a contract, then Goldberg shows up on AEW and everyone's going, holy shit, look, Goldberg's on AEW. He shows up in WWE and it's like, oh God, him again? So
yeah.
Go figure that.
All right, guys. We're gonna go on major OT if we don't get going. NXT, what's your take, man? Just keep it real short. Anything that really stood out.
I'll make it short. Things that stood out, first and foremost, two big things. Number one was Samoa Joe with 3-step process with William Regal. Real simple. Step one, I'm resigning. Fuck this shit. Number two, re-sign me. Want to be talent. Put them hands on your boy. Step three, give me the match for the NXT strap so I can put hands on the boy. Instead of firing him. Regal, a man of many facial expressions, very little words, didn't even need a microphone. Do it. And I swear I was reading his lips. He said, you better fucking do it. Fucking do it. So that was really cool. I like that whole thing. So we're going to see Samoa Joe in action. So everybody was pissed off, like Michael said, when Samoa Joe was let go from the main roster, are going to be very, very happy to see Samoa Joe. Second thing, the biggest thing that I saw, actually there's three. I'm going to add one more. But anyways, Dakota Kai, we all knew it was going to happen, turns on Raquel Gonzalez. We already knew it. I was seeing her as she was talking about just going over like, because I have your back. Well, hey, if you watch wrestling, you know that it always leads to, bitch, I had your back. That's why you've been champion. Let me go ahead and stab it a couple of times while you ain't turning. It's going to be an interesting match because if this ain't no DQ match, I don't see this lasting very long. That's just my take on it. I don't know if y'all guys feel the same. But what I think, honestly, for me, was so fucking entertainment. I watched back the vignette fucking twice. Fucking Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. That shit was fucking amazing. So good that it inspired me to want to watch Caddyshack. If y'all remember that fucking movie, fucking watch Caddyshack. The first one, not the second one, because that shit was fucking weak. But the first one, it was amazing, man. It starts off with Cameron Grimes washing LA Knight's balls. Just it looked like he was pleasuring himself on the golf course. Unless you played golf and you know that's actually the ball washing station. Great continuity, great how they brought in your boy Ted DiBiase with the More You Know background music, telling him pearls of wisdom. This shit was fucking amazing. Yet again, NXT striking with regards to that vignette, that story being told. It looks like LA Knight and Cameron Grimes are probably going to partner up to go against the Grizzled Young Vets. I'm actually excited to see that. Those were the top three things. Some things that's honorably mentioning, what I would say that was cool was kind of seeing Timothy Thatcher, Tommaso Ciampa versus Oney Lorcan and Pete Dunne. I'm actually invested and excited to see that. At first, I only wanted to see Tommaso Ciampa and Pete Dunne. That's what I really want to see. Two hard-hitting guys. I can't remember if those two have gone one-on-one, but then throughout the match, you see Timothy Thatcher and Oney Lorcan, who definitely, I don't know if y'all know this, Oney Lorcan is actually looking really, really cut. Like he went back to the gym a little bit. You know what I mean? And so I wouldn't mind seeing him. So shit, put both of them motherfuckers together. Those four guys, put them in the ring. I'm game. I'm game. Yeah. So I mean, that's making it real short so we don't cut into overtime. NXT.
Yeah, no doubt.
Great LIT.
Did you guys want to mention anything, Matt Michaels and Sin City, that caught your interest in the show? Nope.
Not really. Cameron Grimes vignettes. The dude is money.
Right. Yeah.
And we saw Bronson Reed and Adam Cole, probably the blow off and most likely Reed will be heading up. So
yeah. Good for him, man. I like Bronson Reed. Big fan. Let's jump over into AEW. Mr. Sin City, what's the highlights of that show for you?
Well, the show got off as has been customary for AEW. They started off with a hot match. This week was the elimination 10-man tag, the Elite Squad, as they came out to the Space Jam partnership and came out dribbling the basketballs and did the whole thing. Whatever.
See, look at I was just
whatever.
Say, you better have a whatever on that, brother, because that was fucking corny bullshit.
and so that's the thing is I had a buddy of mine that had just recently started watching AEW at my recommendation, and his comment to me was, "Okay, why the fuck are they coming out dribbling basketballs, looking like a bunch of goofs?" So I mean, yeah. It is what it is. I criticized it when WWE did the tie-in with the fucking zombies. I'll criticize this shit with the fucking Space Jam. Hey, they're making money. I get it. I get the business aspect of it, but I hate the wrestling aspect of it.
But you know what, Sin City? You know what? Them doing the whole dribbling thing probably made more money for Space Jam, The New Legacy, than the actual fucking movie, which fell flat on its fucking face.
Well, there you go. Often imitated, never duplicated. Yet another reason or tally mark in the column that says that Jordan is better than LeBron. I'm just saying.
Yep, got my vote.
That's coming from an Ohio native.
You're damn right. So Elite Squad, Kenny Omega, Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, and the Young Bucks with shit-stained Brandon Cutler. Against Hangman Adam Page in the Dark Order, John Silver, Evil Uno, Alex Reynolds, and Stu Grayson. Before the match started, they ran a pretty freaking sweet promo package for the Dark Order, I have to say. They actually did a good job in building them up as, let's be real, credible challengers in this match. Because if you just looked at this match on paper, there's no question in the world who's actually going to win this thing. And the Elite could possibly go 5-0. But I think that they did everything that they possibly could to try to build the Dark Order as quickly as they could. John Silver, coming back from injury, put on a hell of a performance. Great work by him. But ultimately, it did come down to Hangman Adam Page as the last man eliminated on his squad. So no title shot for Hangman Adam Page as of right now at All Out. And of course, no tag team title opportunity for the Dark Order. We'll see what happens as we get closer to All Out. CM Punk. Anyway, from what I was reading, as far as viewership, immediately after this match drew like 1.1 million viewers. And immediately after this, the quarter-hour segment after this, they lost 350,000 viewers like that. So wow. A lot of people were definitely invested in the Hangman. We'll see if it was the right decision to, prolong this thing. I think that there's more in store than what they're letting on. They would be dumb to, keep him out of the title picture entirely. That's all I'll say about that.
Quick question on that.
Yeah.
You think it's the possibility of the people invested in Hangman, or was there a possibility that people watched that first match and said, yeah, I'm good?
Well, here's the thing is it held good numbers. The match itself went over 25 minutes. So ultimately if the match would have been confined to like a single 15-minute segment, then we could possibly look at that. Maybe going, cornball approach with the Space Jam tie-in may have driven a few people off, yada, yada. But because the match did go 25 minutes, that's a little bit further out of the realm. After that, it really was unfair to, the guys that had to follow, because obviously, you had the Ricky Starks segment, whatever, with Taz.
Oh boy.
So, but above all else, the lowest drawing segment in the show missed the challenge from Hiroshi Tanahashi. Hiroshi Tanahashi cut a vignette saying that he was challenging the winner of the Lance Archer and Hikuleo match for the IWGP US Championship, which that actually will take place at New Japan Resurgence. And it's that'll be interesting. And we'll obviously talk more about that stuff when we talk about New Japan, because there were some other challenges that went down involving guys that were on this show. But definitely. Outside of that, the Lance Archer Hikuleo match was pretty decent. It was a pretty good sight to see Lance Archer pick up Hikuleo, who is 7 feet tall, in the blackout, and actually successfully deliver that move to a 7 foot tall human being. That was pretty awesome to see. It was a dominating win for Archer, to say the least. And Hikuleo, for as much as they put him over in the build to this match, looked almost like a glorified jobber. Now, immediately after this, though, there was a bit of an interesting thing with one Cody Rhodes and Malachi Black. Now, I'm not so much talking about this because of what happened or what these guys did. It was your standard pull apart. But I'm more so talking about the crowd reaction to Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, they booed the hell out of him.
The crowd is starting to turn on Cody because your past transgressions, sir, of putting yourself over every new face that comes into the company, well, your viewers don't necessarily like that. So we'll see if this is any different next week. Let's hope it is.
Is that though the case? And I mean, it's just in general with Cody, we can say, but when you bring in a guy who apparently is supposed to be a heel, and the fans who are already marks are going, "Oh, this guy's great," they're going to cheer for him other than Cody. This is why Cody should not be facing anyone new who comes in from the WWE. You're right.
Precisely.
I definitely agree. And the bad thing is, kind of shame on Cody in AEW for not seeing that coming a mile away, because some of the reactions, this ain't new. This happened last week, right? Or not this past week we were talking about, the week before last when I tuned in, they weren't favorable of him. So I mean,
bro, there were people cheering for Brody Lee when he was doing the heel gimmick, when he was running the Dark Order, when he was going against Cody.
Mm-hmm.
So people were able to see that shit all the way back. Obviously, he beat Lance Archer. He beat Brian Cage right when they first came into the company. And the thing about the AEW fan base is they're not dumb. They're not stupid, and they have a rather high level of intelligence. So they're going to be able to see. And I know.
We talked about that before in the count.
But
intelligence of wrestling fans.
Right. But realistically, though, at the end of the day, they're going to see this type of shit coming more quickly than, certain other promotions. And I'm not going to name names, but the fact of it is that the more jaded fans that have left and stopped watching other promotions went to AEW under the promise that they wouldn't insult our intelligence.
And then they get basketballs dribbled to open
and
up.
Now they're getting, yes, exactly.
You know what's funny, in the same vein, Sin City Steve, I will say this.
I don't want to know about your vein.
Well, no. In the same vein, not my vein, because if I'm sharing that, it ain't going to be on this podcast. But I will say this, though. For the man that broke the so-called throne, you sure are becoming the one thing that you swore you would never become. So, Cody, if you're listening, if you're looking to permanize, and I made that a new word, if you want to permanently be a heel of AEW, why don't you just turn into the very thing that you did not like and we don't like? Just saying, it'll work out in your favor.
You know what? Don't listen to him, Cody. Keep doing what you're doing, because Cody isn't doing what he's doing. Guess what we're going to get for months on end? Cody versus QT Marshall. So please.
Nobody likes QT Marshall. This should be a shirt.
Hey, it's QT Marshall, okay?
Look, look. When nobody likes you that bad, you change your name 5 different variations. We don't give a fuck.
Exactly. Well, I think that we all know where this is going next. We're going to talk about this main event: Chris Jericho versus Nick Gage. And yeah, as advertised, there were panes of glass, there were several light tubes, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, there were pizza cutter spots, which at the behest of Domino's Pizza, that just so happened to be running a picture-in-picture ad right after a pizza slicer spot. Oh God, they even talked about pulling advertising and all that kind of stuff. And of course, you saw on Twitter immediately after companies like Pabst Blue Ribbon saying, hey, AEW, let's buy their time slot or their ad slots if they're bailing out on you. So pretty interesting shit there. Nonetheless, tons of blood, tons of craziness. They really do have to stop with their weekly bloodletting rituals. I mean, we've talked about it numerous times on this show. It's losing its luster. And now the thing that's unfortunate is this segment, this match drew the second highest rating as far as viewership in the entire show, second only to the opening match. So if you're Tony Khan, do you see these numbers and you say, hey, well, the fans obviously like it? That's my fear, because yes, I don't mind seeing this stuff every now and then, but seeing it every single week is getting pretty repetitive. And quite frankly, I'm a fan of AEW. I'm not a fan of, garbage wrestling. I'm not a fan of every week we see the same shit with, this guy almost killing another guy using weapons nonstop. And I know I'm going to catch some shit for it. But realistically, I mean, space the shit out. Keep it confined to your super cards and your pay-per-views. I'm totally cool with that. But, they just cannot continue to do this shit on a regular weekly basis. Jericho ended up getting the win after hitting Nick Gage with a pack of 4 light tubes that were duct taped together, and then hitting the Judas effect. The thing that was pretty interesting, though, was at the end of the match, of course, MJF cut the promo, who, again, he's on commentary every week. That's probably the best part of this match for me, was the fact that he was on commentary again. So he gets on the mic and immediately, he starts cutting a promo, but he doesn't just use his own words. No, he paraphrases the opening lines of the infamous CM Punk pipe bomb promo, where he says, Chris Jericho, while you're laying there in hopefully as much pain as you can be, I want you to listen to me. And then from there, he launched into his promo. So there was that. And oh, by the way, in case you guys weren't aware, they did announce it earlier on in the show. AEW is going to be running the United Center on August the 20th. Pretty interesting stuff. And as of tomorrow, when the tickets go on sale, Monday, when those tickets go on sale, they only have about 1,000 tickets left to sell. They sold almost the entire building out during the presale. So they sold over 12,000 tickets in the presale. So needless to say, they're going to sell out the United Center. A lot of people think that that's going to be the debut of CM Punk. We'll see. And to put a button on this episode of Dynamite, though, going back to what I was saying, MJF says that next week, the third labor of Jericho will be, the stipulation is that Chris Jericho can only win after hitting a move from the top rope, but his opponent next week will be the Juice, Juventud Guerrera. So, yeah, a name from the past.
Wow, Juventud, eh? I love me some Juventud. All right.
What's very interesting is that they have a problem with this whole, taking guys and just bringing them in like they did with Gage, the fan reaction was almost nothing, because no one knows who they are. And that's the main problem. The problem is that you take someone from WWE TV and put them, and they can just walk in, you'll have a reaction because people know who they are. Nick Gage, who the fuck is he? In the big scheme of things. And that was the crowd popped for light tubes, not for the wrestler and not for the wrestling. And if you watch the match, you know what? Here's the difference between, a bloodletting that was done last week and bloodletting that was done this week. And that is simple. Nick Gage is not as good of a wrestler. He's a tough son of a bitch, and good.
Oh, yeah.
God, would I not want to meet that guy in a fucking dark
Fuck
alley,
no.
right?
Fuck no.
So we know that the respect is there, but the real, the real problem is that you didn't build him up. People don't know who he is. So when he comes out, it's like, eh. And then he's going against a 50-year-old man. If Nick Gage doesn't beat the 50-year-old man who he's beating with light tubes and glass pane, then something's wrong. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen kind of with Hoovy, is that you're going to have the general wrestling fans who remember Hoovy, and maybe some parents,
and him and Chris Jericho in the cruiserweight division.
See, and that's the thing too, is so now if you're a dad sitting around, your kid's like, hey, who's this guy, right? And you go and you got to show him a match from fucking 1998 or 1997.
That's 100% me with my son. If we do watch, he will ask,
and it's gonna be like, wait a minute. I just saw them do this, and now I saw them do that. Oh no! It's like it's gonna be like watching your grandfather and grandmother have sex.
Wow!
Disturbing, old, and someone's going off the top rope,
and someone's gonna get this live. Hey, can I ask this question, and maybe you guys can answer it, because I see exactly what you're talking about, Michaels. Would it be too much resources, or would it be even realistic for them to put together a quick little package if they know they're going to have somebody coming on? Would it be too much? Because I felt like something like that would have been useful. It wouldn't fill in the whole blank in the problem you stated earlier, but at least it would have gave something like a quick preview of what this person's about.
I really think, what the problem is, of course, packages help. And I think that, also you got to figure that there is so much they do with the internet that they could even, just have stuff done on the internet. But at the same time, I think in general, the problem is if you're relying just on one package to tell a story about a guy, and then you're supposed to invest in him being a real threat to the guy you love as part of your company and as one of the biggest stars, this side of the moon. Well, is anyone really going to fucking invest in that heel that they don't know? MJ, that's why, see, that's the whole fucked up thing about this. They should have never gone past War Games with this feud. That should have been it. That should have been your climax, is the fucking War Games match. And have those, like you said, Steve, I don't even put them on. Why are they putting these big blood fucking fury matches on regular TV? But if you saw that on a pay-per-view, you'd go, oh my God, I can't see this on TNT.
Right.
But I got to buy the pay-per-view. So I'm with you on that. That's just really, really bad fucking business.
They have to meet their blood sacrifice ritual for the TNT demigod that's there. And if they don't do it for TNT, they lose their contract and their soul, perhaps.
The title disappears. That's the whole reason the title exists. It was fermented in the blood of wrestlers.
Well, see, again, though, literally that the strap was colored because of the blood, and now it's a white strap. So that means that they have to shed more blood. That's all that means. They got to turn it red.
Yep.
So just a few comments going back to things we were talking about way earlier. Shout out to Sean. He when Matt Michaels mentioned QT, he said QT books my son for AEW stuff, so don't you dare besmirch.
He doesn't do it anymore. He does not do the extra work anymore for AEW. So So we can rag on him all we want.
And he really should be booking himself, is what he should be.
And then Chris, he got on Sin City, said Steve Relling against Outlaw Mud Show Wrestling. Somebody called Jim Cornette.
Motherfucker.
And then of course, and then Sean jumped back on and said Jericho has used the lion tamer on the top rope before. So, hey, who knows? All right, y'all. Thank you for that, Sin City, Steve. Let's jump over to the most exciting Thursday night when it comes to wrestling, and that is Impact Wrestling. And you listen, there's a lot that goes on Impact Wrestling. I seem to focus mostly on what, a few names that people are definitely more familiar with and maybe more exciting to see. So I just want to start off with that, saying that there's a lot, but I'm only going to focus on two things that happened, the names that you will probably hear me focus on for some time. And we'll start off with this, Jay White and Chris Bay. Now, both of them, they did have a match that was between the Good Brothers. And with that match, Bay ends up getting pinned. Of course he would. Chris, the Good Brothers doing their finisher. And okay, whatever, that happens. But now Jay White is backstage, having this conversation with Chris Bay, and Chris says, hey, he's going, look, it's my bad. It was on me. What sucks is that I took my first loss under the banner of Bullet Club. And Jay White had to quickly go, wait. Hey, I didn't just put you in Bullet Club. You just don't come, you just not a part of it. You got to do some work. You got to prove that you're going to be in the Bullet Club. Okay. So I got something that you can go do. And all this is happening in between breaks to seeing, well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Well, of course, you had Finn Juice having their match in the ring earlier during that night. Had double tag teams going on, and Finn Juice eventually wins their match, goes backstage. They do a promo, and what do you see? Jay White and Chris Bay attacks them backstage. Now, of course, you got Chris Bay. He's taking care of Juice Robinson. Why? Because Jay White is all about whooping David Finlay as much as possible until they get to this pay-per-view event that's happening. And it seems like this is going to be exciting to see. I'm going to ask you a question in just a second, Sin City, because I don't know. Apparently, there is a history between the two, having a match before. And for someone who never watched that match, just seeing how David keeps attacking, Jay keeps attacking David and mentioning him in this conversation, seems like this is really personal in some way. This is going to be a never title match that's supposed to happen. This is New Japan oriented, by the way. Resurgence, August 14th. And it's actually at the LA Coliseum. I wish I was out there to watch the show. They don't look like they even have too many tickets available either. But the never title match is supposed to happen. And this is the match that's supposed to take place. And I'm getting excited just seeing the fact that they cross pathways in the back room. And Jay just loses his mind when he sees David. Sin City, tell me quickly, what is just the history between those two, and why, what have I missed in the past that, I should be excited about to happen with this match?
Bro, they have, according to cagematch.net, these guys have been on opposite ends of the ring from one another 18 times in their careers.
Okay.
So, and it's not just been in New Japan. They actually did have a match in Ring of Honor back in 2016 as well. So, okay. So it's one of those things where they definitely have a storied past. Yes. All of the matches that they've had, whether they're, multi-man tags or singles matches or, any of those kinds of things, they've all been pretty well received by people, and they've all been extremely well done. Yeah. So, they do have sort of that rivalry complex. Dating back to 2015. So, right. it's one of those things where, they definitely have history. Me being, a fiend of continuity. I love when they have callbacks to things like this.
Right.
And it's really cool to see that now they're, taking it to Impact as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that. I mean, you could definitely. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what's very interesting about the whole aspect is that the one thing that doesn't fit in the peg here is Chris Bay.
Mm-hmm.
He's just an Impact guy. He's not New Japan. What if this is all a setup for Finjuice joining Bullet Club? Beating the shit out of each other is a respectful thing in Japan. And thus, eventually the turn happens on Bay where he's not a part of Bullet Club because Finjuice is.
Sure. Wow.
Scotty.
Oh man. Yeah, it could happen. But nevertheless, it is still a good look on Chris Bay because it's definitely being a part of this storyline has is definitely just showing just how much that Impact has really just really been investing in him since he's just been with the company now. And I mean, this is along just pretty big for him to be a part of this. So, whether he's a part of Bullet Club or gets turned on at the end, nevertheless, it's a good look for Chris Bay. So it's good to see what he's doing. So anyway, that's the one part of Impact. The next thing I got to talk about, and I promised myself I wasn't going to go too crazy. I probably should make this a or Saturday's release of just thoughts in my head. But of course, it always has to do when I see Kenny Omega come out. This time he comes out, of course, with Don Callis and the Good Brothers. They have his intro going, his normal intro that he comes on. In the video screen, you see the big old AEW belt, in the video. That shows great. And then, of course, his name, Kenny Omega, flash on the screen. And then he just walks out, like, hey, I'm the greatest. But guess what? He has no belts with him. He doesn't have the Impact World title with him. He don't have the AEW. He doesn't. This is supposed to be the belt collector. This is supposed to go with this entire storyline of this guy being the greatest wrestler of all time. Yet he comes out as if he's just, I don't know, just a name.
Kenny Omega?
Just a name. I don't understand how you can even come on to the show with not even reminding people who you are and why you're there.
Or at least a basketball jersey.
Like, seriously, it just makes no sense. Comes out, I mean, the Good Brothers, they remember where they are. They got their tag title belts on them, but the belt collector has no belts. Okay, it just makes no sense. It's mind-boggling. Nevertheless, they come out. They're doing their whole spiel in the ring. Sami Callihan, comes out again, and they start talking mess. And of course, Callahan's like, look, I should just come back. I should just leave from the top of this platform and just come jump you right now. And of course, while the other guys in the ring are going, yeah, why don't you come do that? Well, they end up getting jumped. But jumped by who? Frankie Kazarian shows up. Yes, to jump the guys in the ring. So I guess welcome back, Frankie.
The elite hunter himself.
Yeah, comes back. So of course, now what do we have? We have Omega. We got the Good Brothers, and I kind of skipped a little bit. The whole reason why that they came out in the first place, came to the ring. Don Callis was pissed off because, of course, Kenny Omega's got to defend this title, which he doesn't bring. And they're like, okay, we need to create a match. So in 2 weeks, we're going to do a 20-man battle royal, which, of course, the winner would then have their title match for the Impact Championship on, it's going to be at Emergence, which I believe is on the 21st. Is that really that's the same day as SummerSlam? Oh, shit.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do?
Yeah, it is. It's okay. So it's on Emergence, which is Saturday 21st. I guess they didn't even want to pretend like they want that nothing else is going on. And so yes, so anyway, next 2 weeks they're gonna have that title. And of course, Kenny and Don were pissed off that they were going to have this 20-man, because of course Kenny shouldn't have no one to defend it against. So that's why they came to the ring. But nevertheless, after all that else everything else happened, you now got Kenny Omega with the Good Brothers. They're going to have a match next week with Frankie Kazarian, Sami Callihan, and somebody who Sami Callihan hates and who hates Sami Callihan, Eddie Edwards. All right, so it's going to be those three on those three, which now kind of already tells me that, of course, the Impact team will most likely lose again. But nevertheless, Impact is still, despite the craziness, there's a lot that is going on that I don't want to sit here and talk about. It's still a good show. I still enjoyed it. You know, Deonna Purrazzo's doing her thing. Yep. Deonna Purrazzo doing her thing. I want to make sure that you heard me correctly. Yes, she is. And a lot of good things are happening. So I'll end it there. Impact Wrestling, good show. That was Thursday night. This weekend, if you want to partake in it, Impact Plus pay-per-view, they're having their homecoming, is what they're calling it, and they're going to crown a first ever king and queen. Remember how we used to have homecomings and you have your king and queen? So pretty much you have a guy and a, you're gonna have
like nobody went to high school and went to homecoming.
I don't think Matt Michaels went to homecoming. Did you go to homecoming?
Yeah, but I'm sure he watched Carrie. He know there was a homecoming when all that shit went down.
Oh no! Of course, I was involved in homecoming. Anytime you were involved in sports, you had to go to homecoming.
Yep.
Yes, that's true. That's right. So anyway, so of course they put a bunch of matches. I'm not going to name, but guy, gal. So we're going to see who's going to become the first ever king and queen this weekend. If you have Impact Plus, you'll get a chance to enjoy that. All right. Let's move over to what we really want to talk about. And by the way, guys, we're getting very close now for me to tell you the first unique code word you need to know to win 2 SummerSlam tickets that we're going to give away. I'm going to give you the first word in just a second, but we got to talk about it. It's SmackDown. Matt Michaels, what was some of the highlights? To me, the whole damn show was a highlight. It was just great watching. I enjoyed all of it. I won't lie. What'd you take?
Well, can we just say that Baron Corbin being a pathetic human being is one of the most entertainment things on television?
It really is.
It is very entertaining. Very entertaining.
Yeah.
Replayable, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, still being very snide and like a dick, but yet begging for money to the multimillionaire John Cena. What a fucking great idea. And then Cena just plants him. It's just like, yeah, that's pretty fucking smart. Yeah. And it was smart how that all figured into then the setup at the contract signing, where they did something that's not really been done before, and that is have a contract signing in which someone else signs the contract their name is not on.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You know what's so funny? I think all of us growing up watching wrestling have always maybe wondered that question. What if somebody else signed that shit? Would it be official?
Yeah, so we now know, and a great way of doing it by having Finn being taken out, and then Corbin looking at the contract like he's going to sign it, and then Cena coming in and just nailing Corbin again, which makes it seem like we might see a Cena Corbin warm-up match for John. But that moment where John signs it and just Roman just sitting there and watching this, and you see his face goes from elation to like, you gotta be kidding me.
Right.
So, it's just well done.
It is.
Because we know, not only when we're kids and the contract signings and thinking about stuff like that, but how many contract signings have we seen? And it's, usually about the same thing. So to put just a little bit of a twist on it, because you didn't really know if they were going to, how they were going to get Cena into the match is basically
right. Yeah.
question. And now you got something set up too with Finn Balor and Corbin for SummerSlam.
And you know what's really cool, and just to say real quick with regards to contract signings, I remember a long time ago seeing a lot of contract signings. It would never zoom in ever on contracts. It would just, if you notice on NXT with the whole Samoa Joe I mentioned earlier, they zoomed in on the fucking contract signing. On SmackDown, they zoomed in on the contract. I want to start seeing that more often for contract signing. Don't let it just be some fucking piece of paper. I want to see exactly what the fuck is on there so I can press pause and read it. It's probably not going to happen, but I want to see it.
That was good stuff though, for sure.
Yeah, so that being your centerpiece of the night was great. As much as Simon, you want to rip on Reggie.
Reggie, man.
He's entertaining. I gotta give it to him. He's entertaining. They found the right spot for his ass.
That match, I was actually really like from the time he came out. I'm talking from the back to entrance to the fact he went and after the match and did the flips back. I was entertained from beginning to end.
He did something that you don't see people do, and that is to make that leap, to use the top rope and then to roll fucking from going over the top rope to roll through. Yeah. That's fucking incredible.
He did it effortlessly.
Yeah. And also don't forget too, this week was a week when you're talking about someone like Simone Biles, having to pull out of the Olympics because of the fact that she gets the flippies in her head. You can't do it. You get the yips.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what this is an equivalent of. If you, for 1 second, fucking just something throws you off, you can seriously hurt yourself. And boy, man, and again, it's like you take a title that really has meant nothing. It's been a comedy title in a sense, and now you.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of look at it like you're giving it a little credibility because you have him going against Gable. Of course, they put him over because Otis, gets the DQ on it. And it's funny because he got DQ'd on a 24/7 match, which in the past there wasn't DQs for a 24/7 match.
I'm glad you noticed that. I noticed the same shit.
Right. So it makes it, there might be a sense of maybe they're trying to do a little something different with it. So we'll see. But you know what? Again, if you want to talk about guys who are getting that like idea of here's a shot, save your ass, there's a great example because he's probably not costing them much of anything in terms of his contract. So, have fun with it.
Let me say this right quick.
Yeah, please.
So I really like the idea of Chad and Otis. I really like the idea of the Alpha Academy. And I ask myself all the time, what is missing? Because this is so great. This is awesome. I really do enjoy this. And I think what is really great is I think they need to add members, not really fast, just add it slowly at a time, but someone who's willing to go through a transformation as much as Otis did. So they're going to have to be willing to maybe some haircut, slim down, or whatever the case. And then they become under Chad's leadership and grow that Alpha Academy. And that could be really awesome because I like the idea. Like, I know it's not really much of a thing now, but I see something there and I don't want it to get thrown away because, they might look at it as a joke, but I really do see that this could be something huge if done right. But whoever they add,
it's not a joke. I think that they've actually, they've solidified it. But that scenario, honestly, It works perfect for Corbin. He's
Yeah,
down
yeah,
in his luck. He needs a little help. Who better to help him than Chad Gable coming up to him and saying, hey, you know what? Look at this man. I turned this man into a beast, a monster. You know, I can get you your dignity back. And that could be a way of doing Chad Gable into kind of a guru type character who eventually then gets his ass kicked by the guys that he created. The monster, you know, the Dr. Frank creating the monster. So that's what kind of I think you'll see something like that. I just don't know how big they're gonna, make that if they go.
I don't think they are. I don't think they're gonna go no more than what they have right now until they're done with, and then they're gonna kick it to the curb, and then Chad's fired. I think it's gonna be one of those types of things. But I'm wishing that they look at that and go, wow, we got something here. Let's expand on it.
Chad might be saving his ass right now, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that,
because he's good.
Well, it's a combination of he's good and there's extra value to him. He is a legitimate Olympian. So he has that
right
extra
now, I mean,
value.
you definitely want that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised they're not actually using that during this time right now.
I
of
think
him
that
being
they shouldn't stop there.
Well,
I don't think they should stop there. They should, if from what you said, Impact, if that were to actually be true, let's say it happens, extend it over to Keith Lee. You know what I mean? Have him join Alpha Academy and change his L's to W's.
Yeah, but then it becomes Fat Camp. Chad Gable's back, which actually is an entertaining sight to just put like a bunch of 350, 400-pound guys.
Like the biggest loser, but it's not, right?
Turn him into a Richard Simmons type character. There we go.
Oh, spirit figures.
But see, Otis made a complete transformation, right? I mean, from hair to even slim down. If there was someone, and I don't know who else they can do, where you can see a transformation come from that person and make that a part of Alpha Academy. Not only they made that transformation, but now, with the moves and things they do, it just really shows there's something there. The continuity of that is what I'm really looking at. Instead of just bringing someone over, show the transformation of them, like with Otis. That's what I'm saying.
And you have to take a fan favorite and make him a total fucking despicable heel. That's
that part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's your, that's your big thing. But yeah, there's stuff that can be done.
Sean says, bring back the Buddy Rose, quote, blow away diet. Oh, man. I'm sorry, man. Continue though, man. Good stuff on SmackDown.
We had a wonderful, Edge was coming out and Seth takes Edge out and then does a great little thing. He's just fucking gold. I love him.
Do you think Seth owns those suits or they're just rented?
I would assume he has money to own the suits.
Well, he can definitely has the money to own it, but do you think he owns
it? Probably.
I can't imagine his closet looking with all these crazy suits in him like that.
Well, it wouldn't be in his closet. It would be in the back of his locker room or whatever, ready for him. Wouldn't it be? I mean, I don't.
Well, that wouldn't be his then. That would be wardrobe, buddy.
Yeah, it'd probably be wardrobe.
Yeah.
But if he does, I would wear some of them bad boys.
Hey, something else. But yes, you're right, man. He's on point, Seth. Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing here is Sasha's return. Now, Simon, I'm going to allow you before I talk about it. And when I talk about it, there is nothing that is meant as an attack or anything like this. It has no basis on your opinions of her. Okay. So, but you go ahead, give us what you thought about seeing her back on TV.
Well, of course, I was elated and happy to see, the beautiful, the talented, the master of all that is backstabbing Sasha Banks come in, saving Bianca Belair from who knew in a threat of Carmella and Zelina, only to give hugs and then, basically stab her in the back. I wasn't surprised, not at all. It is what it is. I mean, that's basically what Sasha Banks has always been. They booked her always as backstabber. To be honest, I like her better this way. I like her better this way. I don't like her as a face. I think I've said that before. I like her as a backstabber. You can't really trust her. I was good with it. I thought it was great from start to finish. I mean, I just think it was great. Did what she did, walked the fuck out.
I think how it ended was, I didn't, how, something's going to happen, but I didn't see it happening like that fast, so quick, and done so perfect. Like it came out of nowhere and it was just perfect. Again, something, what was going to happen, but I guess the quickness of it and just how it was performed was just, it was just on point. I love how
sense, though. It makes sense.
I'm not debating
Bailey's
that. I'm just
out.
saying
Bailey's out, so you had to have somebody be a heel.
I'm not debating that. I'm saying how it was executed and as fast as it was, as you were watching it, the execution that was just perfect because it was just it was really truly out of nowhere. Like sometimes you can kind of see somebody back it up and getting ready to do that. Like there wasn't that. It was like the celebration, the hug, and it was just like boom, just that quick. And it was just executed well. That's all I'm saying. I loved it.
But also too, shouts out to because it's 2-part. Sasha obviously did it, but you got to give props to Bianca Belair, and it shows how well they work together. You see what I'm saying? I mean, Bianca sold it well. They obviously worked on it, obviously. But yeah, it looked great. It was a proud moment for me. Now let's see what Michaels has to say. I'm going to shut the fuck up.
So this has nothing to do, again, with anything about Sasha or Bianca themselves, or anyone involved in that match. This is more so the, when people like to say that WWE doesn't do the long story. This is the problem. When Bianca is initially getting pounded on and Sasha comes out, crowd pop is fucking hot. All right. She comes in and she comes to the aid of Bianca. She comes to the aid of this woman who beat her at WrestleMania. They had a basic bond and connection, obviously, being that they both main evented WrestleMania. First women to, African-American women to do it, by themselves on the biggest stage. So you have that in place. After she saves Bianca, she gives her a hug. They're really happy to see each other. That's wonderful. DJ, you're onto something. They fucked this up because they forced it in the same fucking night. What they should have done was had them help each other out in certain manners leading up to or past SummerSlam, okay, and allowing the fans who just popped for this person to enjoy her as a face. Because if she looks like she is on Bianca's side and the fans get a chance to cheer her because they haven't seen her in forever, and you're having this, organic kind of like, they're just so glad to be in each other's presence because, they had this moment at WrestleMania and they shared something that no other people can understand the bond of. That is thicker than blood. It is something that only once in a lifetime you can experience. And you're talking shit like that for, a number of weeks. Give it a month, give it 2 months, give it 3 months. And then she fucks her. And when she fucks her and screws her, it's because of the fact that, hey, I never liked you. I never respected you. That was my match. And you got fucking lucky. And you have the flip happen then. This was rushed. And at the very end, the one thing that stood out is that they had to pump booze into it because the fans were still fucking loving seeing Sasha back. So they had to literally, because you could see, you can hear this massive boo, and you see the fans just going nothing. the fans are just like statues, just looking at it, and you actually see some fans clapping. So they anticipated the fucking reaction, and instead of playing the long game, they went with the short game, and that's where they fuck themselves, is because that's when you have people starting to go, well, they don't invest into that story. They don't take the time to tell the story.
Mhm.
And that's it. That's it, man.
Let me
That's
ask you this
problem.
question, because you make a very valid point. But do you think because of Bailey being injured, and as far as for the women's division needing a solid heel, that kind of pushed, let's just say they did have the long game, like you stated.
Do it 3 weeks. Do it 3 weeks.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because nobody in that building, except for maybe the kids, because of comprehension, no one in that building was going to boo Sasha Banks that night. It was her first fucking night back.
True.
And that pop
So-
was huge.
So Matt Michaels, just out of curiosity, are you then saying that you would have preferred to have seen Bianca Belair versus Carmella at SummerSlam?
No. You heard what I said. Give it 3 weeks.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Don't do it the same night she comes back.
Okay.
That's the main point. The point is even if you gave it 2 or 3 weeks to pull the trigger then on the match, because it's not like SummerSlam was the next fucking Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So you could have actually done that in 2 or 3 weeks. The problem again is you bring someone back who is popular fans. The fans want to cheer them. And when you have them cheering her at the end, when you have her turn heel, the fans were either not receptive or still cheering her. And you had to make your own fucking heat, which is not going to stand, most likely, because honestly, more fans have an investment in Sasha than they do in Bianca.
Yeah.
That is very true. That you know what? That right there is the point that you make out of everything else you said, that right there. So now, in a way, yes, you are fucking yourself, because I'm still cheering for Sasha regardless. And I know other people who aren't even fully invested in Sasha that will cheer for Sasha before they cheer for Bianca.
Yep.
Good point.
All right, guys, good stuff. Let's get to what everybody wants to know, and what is that? The unique word that they need to know for our podcast for tonight. So this is the word. Write it down, put it away, or you can just keep listening to the podcast and you can keep hearing the same word. What is that word? The word you need to write down is tribal. Tribal. That's the word.
Are we making sure, DJ, that spelling counts?
No, we won't do that, because then we won't have any winners. These are wrestling fans, okay? All right. Not scholars. All right. So tribal. That is your word for this podcast. Write it down. And remember, this is for the possibility of winning 2 SummerSlam tickets. That's going to happen Saturday, August 21st. And you need that word because you're going to need to go to vegasbadboys.com. And after next week's
When you have all 4 words.
To have all
4 words.
Yeah, to put that in. So it's best to do it then. Write it down, put it away. Tribal is tonight's code for wrestling talk. Now for Ring of Honor, this would be really quick. There has been some other matches that was happening last week. I'm not going to get into it. A lot of great matches that worth watching if you get a chance to see it. But most importantly, they have started the women's tournament, which is starting to get exciting. This should be your thing, Simon Street, man. You should be trying to watch this, because it's really exciting beginning to see a lot of the some brand new talent, mostly that
I'm trying, brother. I'm trying.
Yeah.
There's just so much to watch, but I have taped it, so I can watch it at a later date and then catch up. So
Yeah, yeah. It's been really good, but yeah, they've been running the women's tournament, and that actually started this week. So I'm not going to go through naming all the women that's in it, but who was on this past week's show was our very own Maserati, who represents future stars of wrestling out here. And shout out to Riccaboni, who actually shouted out future stars of wrestling on the show, and her being from Las Vegas. She had a match against Nicole Savoy, and that ended up being a very, very good match. I really didn't know how that was going to come down. Apparently, Nicole Savoy has been wrestling for some time, and you can see definitely that you know, she was on her game. Maserati though is just, man. Despite the fact, and by the way, Maserati, she ended up losing the match to Nicole, but just the overall match itself was just really entertaining because Maserati, she talks a lot during the ring, and it just gets you very exciting when you get to hear her. She told Nicole at one point, get your hands off my weave.
We can tell you love that.
Caprice, who's a brother, had to tell Riccaboni, look, I'll explain this to you after the show. I love it. Great. I mean, just good stuff like that they had. And I mean, she was very vocal in the ring. She said I think she even called Nicole a thought. I was like, nah, that ain't, man, no, she didn't just call her that. Yeah. Like, for real? Overall, though, like I say, this was a great match. There was 3 other matches that took place. If you get the opportunity to try to watch this tournament, and you know, you're going to enjoy it. This is the Ring of Honor Women's Championship Tournament, and like I said, it just started this past week. I believe it's going to be going for another 3 weeks before they get to you know, who would be in the final. So with that, I'll just leave it there for Ring of Honor. New Japan Pro Wrestling. I will give this over to you, Sin City. Like I said, we do know about the resurgence that's going to be out in LA August 14th. So that's very exciting. If you happen to be in the LA area, there's only a few seats left. So try to get you a ticket to the show for that. But Sin City, what are some other some news in New Japan we should talk about?
So Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Lance Archer is now official for Resurgence. So yes, Tanahashi and Archer, it should be a good match. And quite frankly, it's a match that is being listed as having a 60-minute time limit. So we'll see how long they go, and you know, how much they tear the house down. I think that they definitely have the potential to put on one hell of a match. A bit of a styles clash, to say the least, but both guys are incredible workers, and I think that they'll bring out the best in one another for sure. Yeah. Also set for Resurgence is the Good Brothers. They just got challenged by Jon Moxley after AEW Dynamite. So it's going to be Jon Moxley and a mystery partner against the Good Brothers at New Japan Resurgence. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, this past week, the Good Brothers did defeat Violence Unlimited, Brody King and Chris Dickinson, to win the Tag Team Turbulence Tournament Finals over there in New Japan Strong. So very interesting stuff there. Yeah. So that card is shaping up. You had mentioned earlier that there are only about 200 or so tickets left for that show. Yeah. So if you're in the LA area and you want to pop in there to see that on August the 14th, I highly recommend it. Should be a solid show.
Absolutely. And that's part of the entire New Japan's organization. So you have to pretty much pay is it the $9.99 a month to be able to watch that?
You can get that on New Japan World.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. 999 yen.
I like it when you use the American dollars. It sounds a lot cheaper.
Did you just use
not $9.80 then?
There
Steve,
you go.
did you just use the yen word? Racist.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Michaels, that one's not sticking.
Wow.
Well, yeah, go ahead, man.
One last thing really quick though. We really don't ever talk about MLW on this show, but I do want to give a special shout out to our boy Hammerstone, who won the Major League Wrestling Battle Riot top rope over the top rope battle royal that they just had. So he is now the #1 contender for the MLW World Championship. So props to our boy Hammer.
He's gonna have a bit of a belt collection for himself as well.
Awesome. Any other wrestling, local wrestling, or anything that we need to talk about, or is that pretty much it?
Just everyone know that Pro Wrestling Guerrilla started back up today, and they just finished their show, and there was some very interesting guests doing in-ring work. So
I would just send some photos from our guy we know while we were doing our show, and I'm like, oh, interesting, some of the folks that showed up. So yeah, that should be exciting now. All right. That's our wrestling talk. We want to thank everybody for watching us. If you are watching us, stay tuned because you're going to start with 3 Count, and there's some really good topics on there that you're going to want to listen to and be a part of. But for everyone else who has downloaded this, we thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing, and continue to tell people you know about us so they can also be just as entertained as you are. All right. So with that, we will see you next time.